Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Trellis and Trails Homestead. I'm Jacqueline. If you're new here, thanks for being here, and if you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I just wanted to have like a chill day with you guys. It's a snow day here in Colorado, so we are going to be warm and cozy today. I'm just looking outside and it's like so snowy. We already had some snow on the ground from last week, so this is just covering the top of that now. I'm in my cozy sourdough era sweatshirt. So that's what we're doing today. I'm just going to bake a loaf and some bagels. Pop this into the oven. I have it over here resting. It looks kind of flat right now, but we're going to build it up in a second. I had it in the fridge overnight. It's a pear brown sugar cinnamon loaf. I've never made one like this before, so I'm really excited to try it. The brown sugar is kind of leaking out of the sides, so we'll see how it turns out on the inside. But I'm going to let that rest for a second while my Dutch oven is preheating in the oven, and then we're going to score it, and I'm going to pop it into the oven. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. If any of you out there work night shift, you know. If you know, you know. So we're going to get that in the oven, and then I really need to eat breakfast. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll bring you back for making some bagels. I have a couple other things to do. I need to strain my fire cider, and I'm not sure if that's it or not, but that's what we're going to do for now. Just a simple, chill Saturday. Okay, so the brown sugar is really leaking out of my bread. Here, let me bring you down. I don't know if you can tell or not. I don't want to fluff it up too much because the stuff keeps leaking out. I think just the juices of the pear and just the brown sugar and cinnamon all together is just kind of a mess inside. So I may have to bake it for a little bit longer. We'll see, but I'm just going to do some scoring real quick. I'm not going to do anything fancy so that the inclusions, the stuff in the middle, doesn't really leak out too much more. We'll just do like an ear. I think it actually works better if you do like the smaller scores first, but I tend to always do the ear first. I don't really know why. I'm just going to do some like wheat marks. Nothing super fancy. This loaf is just for us, so I'm not going to worry too much about making it look super cute. All right. Just gonna get this in my Dutch oven. I'm not going to go through the tutorial for the sourdough or anything. I do have a video on that, making a sourdough loaf. If you haven't watched that yet, go check it out. So I'm just going to bake this for about 30 minutes with the lid on, and then I'll probably end up doing at least 30 minutes with the lid off since some of the inclusions are kind of falling out. I just want to make sure the bottom of it was kind of wet from the brown sugar and the juices from the pear. So I just want to make sure that it's cooked thoroughly and is not really like too moist on the bottom. So I might have to cook this loaf for a little bit longer. But I'm going to go eat some breakfast real quick, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you what that's looking like. And then we'll make some bagels together in a little while. I have my bagel dough here from last night. If I like this recipe, I'm still playing around with the recipe a little bit. If I really like this one, I can give you guys like a little video tutorial of how to put this together. This is a jalapeno and cheddar dough. But I'm still playing, like I said, I'm still playing around with the recipes. So I'll let you guys know if I really like this one and share it with you. But for now, while my eggs are cooking, I'm just gonna get this out of here and go ahead and separate them into 6. I think I'm gonna do 6 today, larger size bagels. I'm just gonna dump this out into my pan. My mat that you guys have seen that I like to put my dough on, little silicone mat, is in the sink because it had the sourdough loaf with the brown sugar and stuff on it. So I'm just gonna put it on my Pampered Chef's pan and separate it on here. So just kind of a ball of dough here. I should get my bench scraper. I don't know how even these pieces are gonna be if we're doing 6. I don't feel like weighing it out right now, so we're just gonna estimate. I want to get this pulled apart and set out at room temperature for a little while before I cook them, just so they have time to rise. We'll see if they rise. My house is a little bit cool right now, so I'm just gonna like press them into a ball shape. Sorry, I'm like stirring my eggs at the same time. I'm so hungry this morning, waking up at 3 o'clock. I'm really struggling right now, so let's cook on low for a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of put them into a ball shape and take some off of this one because it looks a little larger than the others. Yeah, I've played around with the bagel recipe a couple of times now, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I like best with it. So we're still working on that, but I'm really excited to have the cheese and jalapeno inside of these. I haven't made cheese and jalapeno ones yet. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of jalapeno on top for the baking process. I think that'll be delicious. A little bit off of this one. Okay. They might not be perfectly even in size, but that's okay. Again, these are just for my husband and I, so we're kind of cool with whatever. I love cooking for other people. I love baking for friends and making sourdough for friends, but I also really like just making things for us because I can experiment with it quite a bit more than if I'm making it for other people. So all of this is just a total experiment today. The pear and brown sugar cinnamon loaf and then the bagels. So I just kind of put a hole in it with my finger and then just roll it like this. And you have a pretty good bagel shape. I may have to extend it a little bit after it rises for a while, but that's okay. Okay. I think that I like the texture of this recipe better. They seem to be holding up a lot more. Last time I made them, they turned out okay, but they weren't my favorite. I mean, I think they tasted fine. I actually gave them to someone. I didn't eat them, but I did try one just to make sure before I gave it to her, and it was good. And she said that they were great, so it was no problem. But that recipe, I think that I either added too much water or I didn't do like the same day bake like it said and put it in the fridge instead overnight, which is what I did with this recipe too. But the dough really fell apart the next morning when I took it out. After I let it sit for a while, it just completely fell apart. I'm not really sure. It almost seemed like dumpling, like when I boiled it instead of bagel dough. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. If it was my fault with either not baking it the same day or adding too much water, doing like a higher hydration dough, and it just didn't work so good. I'm not sure, but I'm already liking the texture of this dough better. And once again, these are sourdough bagels. Everything that I make is sourdough. So this is made with my sourdough starter. Okay, look at that. Beautiful. All right, so I'm just gonna let these rise for probably about an hour or two. Maybe by the time my sourdough loaf is done in the oven, we can take that out and pop these in. We'll boil them first for a couple minutes and then we'll put them in the oven to bake. Really excited about these. Right now I'm gonna eat my breakfast real quick, and then I'll bring you guys back when I take the lid off of the pear and cinnamon loaf, and we'll see how that's coming along. Our sourdough is almost at the 30-minute mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the lid off, and then we'll let it bake for another like 30 minutes uncovered. It smells really good. So you can see the brown sugar and pear stuff definitely has leaked out of the edges a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll end up baking just fine. So we'll put it back in the oven uncovered for another 30 minutes. While we're waiting for our loaf in the oven and for our bagels to rise, I'm just gonna go ahead and strain our fire cider that we made together. I think we made it about 4, almost 5 weeks ago now, so it's more than enough time to be strained. Let me grab it. So we have the 2 jars that we made. I think I'm just gonna strain one at a time, and then this one can sit for another week or 2 and continue to kind of ferment. So I'm just gonna strain this one first, but you can see it's like pretty cloudy. That's when you know that it's ready to be strained. So once you get to the 4-week mark and once it looks pretty cloudy like this, you're good to strain it out. So I'm just gonna give it a shake first. I probably should do this over the sink, but I think it'll be okay. Look at that goodness in there. All right, so I'm just gonna, you know what? I probably should do this over the sink. I feel like I am gonna make a huge mess over there, so we'll just do it in the sink. This is kind of how I did it last time and it worked pretty well. Oops, I feel like I'm losing a little bit. I think I'm spilling some. I'm gonna use a funnel instead so I don't lose a lot of the juice. And then some of the citrus, if the citrus falls out, I do like to squeeze that out a little bit because it's holding on to some of that good vinegar stuff. And the rest of this, the leftover fruit and ginger and herbs and all that, I'm gonna put in my compost bin. Right, there's our fire cider. It doesn't look like that much, it's like 1/3 of a quart jar, but that's actually quite a bit. We take like a shot a day. So this will last for several weeks. And then like I said, I'll strain the other one in probably like 2 weeks. I'll let it sit for a little longer. So I'm just gonna stick this in the fridge. It will stay good in the fridge like indefinitely, basically. I think some of the things I read said up to a year, maybe a little longer. Obviously we're gonna drink it before a year is up. We'll drink it in the next few weeks, but if you leave it in the fridge, it will stay good. It's vinegar based, it's not gonna go bad. And just look at that goodness. Looks like some of the herbs kind of got in there, but that's okay. I truly do think I don't know if this is true or not, just saying. We haven't had a cold this entire winter season, and we've been drinking this stuff almost every day. So I don't know if there's something to be said about that with the ginger and the turmeric and the herbs and whatever else is in there. All of those antibacterial, antiviral kind of properties of those ingredients. So yeah, we've normally gotten sick at least once by now. By February, we've had a cold or two, and we haven't gotten sick at all. So something to be said about this fire cider. I actually want to go ahead and try this batch. It smelled very cinnamony. I know there was some cinnamon sticks in it, right? Yeah, 1 cinnamon stick in each one. So I'm going to have a shot of it. Cheers. It's good. It's not quite as strong as the last batch. It definitely tastes cinnamony, but it's a little more mild. I don't know if that's because I didn't put maybe as much ginger in it or what, but it has a really good flavor. I think it's better when it's cold, so I'm just going to stick it in the fridge. I'm actually going to stick this in my compost bin, so I'm just going to take it out there in a little while, pour it into my compost bin, and just let the stuff break down and get worked into the soil that's already in there, break down into more soil. This will add really great nutrients to my compost, so anything, like I said with the broth that we made, any sort of like vegetable or anything that I kind of cook down, I end up adding all that to my compost bin. So I know you're technically not supposed to add citrus to your compost, but I think since this has been soaked in vinegar for the last 4 weeks, it'll be fine. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do with this. I'm gonna get some water boiling for our bagels. They've not been sitting out for quite an hour, but when the bread is done, I kind of just wanna go ahead and toss them into the oven while the oven is still hot and just kind of be done with the oven for this morning. So they're already pretty puffy, and I think they're gonna continue to rise in the oven, so I'm not worried about the rise time right now. I don't know if you can see them. So they look a little puffy. I think they'll be just fine. So we're gonna get this to a light rolling boil, not a significant rolling boil because it'll definitely affect the texture of your dough. But just a light rolling boil. We're gonna do like, you could probably fit 3 in there at a time. So we'll probably just boil 3 at a time for like 1 minute to 2 minutes on each side. They kind of actually roll themselves in the water, so they may flip from side to side, and that's okay too. Then we'll take them out. We'll put a little bit of an egg wash on them. I may put a jalapeno or 2 on top of each one, and then we'll stick it in the oven for I think about 25 minutes. looks kind of messy because the brown sugar kind of stuck to the parchment, but that's a beautiful loaf otherwise. We're gonna let it cool for a while. The bagel recipe says to bake at 400 degrees for 20 to 23 minutes. So I'm just gonna start it at 20 minutes. And they're in the oven now, 400 degrees, 20 minutes. And then we'll keep checking on them. And adding the egg wash to the top actually helps them kind of crust and brown on top. So I don't know that they'll need much longer than 20 minutes, but we'll keep an eye on them and see. And if we need to leave them in there for a few extra minutes, we can. Look at how pretty that turned out. It could be a little bit higher. Could have risen a little bit more, but like I said, I didn't want to mess with it too much when I was shaping it because I didn't want all this brown sugar stuff to spill out. So it's still a little bit gooey on the sides. So I'm just going to let it cool for a few hours. You don't want to cut into your sourdough while it's warm because it releases all this steam. And that's what keeps it nice and moist inside. So you want it to rest before you cut it for definitely at least 2 hours, if not longer. Okay, I think our bagels are done. They've been in here for probably about 30 minutes actually. I wanted them to get kind of crispy and brown on top. So here we are. They smell so spicy with the jalapeno. Look at that. Gorgeous. So they did puff up quite a bit. Look at those. They're a little bit misshapen, but they are going to be so delicious. I cannot wait to eat these. Thank you guys so much for joining me today as we made a pear and cinnamon brown sugar loaf and some bagels and strained our fire cider. This video is probably going to be a little bit shorter than some of the others, but just wanted to hang out with you guys while I baked these things up. Like I said, these were both kind of experimental recipes. I'll let you guys know if we like the bagel recipe, and if so, I'll share a video on it sometime. I can already tell we're gonna like it. The texture seems really, really good. So I can't wait to eat those. But thanks for hanging out with me, and like and subscribe, send your friends over to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.